Hey guys, so today we are answering a subscriber question, and the question in question was, Frederick, since we have things such as TypeScript and that has the same sort of capabilities as C#, is it fair to say that JavaScript haters are just ignorant and unwilling to learn new things? So let's get into it. I'm gonna have to probably cut down that in the description of the video, but that's pretty much what the person asked. And I will say this. Yes. It's not the whole truth, of course, but a lot of the frustration and like the hatred towards towards JavaScript these days is, in my world, it's almost to the point where it's unfounded. It exists in my world due to legacy reasons. People have been saying that it's a bad language for so long that it's almost a standing joke now that it's almost to the point where it's kind of popular. I actually think so. I mean, in certain circles, it's almost you're supposed to not like it, especially if you're a system levels developer or you do some real software development. That's what I see anyway. And what's interesting, I think, is that this person, bringing up TypeScript, brings up a very interesting point, because the fact of the matter is that I've been working for a few years now. I've been working in Java and like C# and all these other cooler languages. I've done a bit of C and C++ development as well. And all I can say is that when it comes on the discussion of TypeScript, there are still some limitations with JavaScript, and right now there's really only one critical thing that I would argue that needs to be fixed for it to be, and after that, it has pretty much the same capabilities as a lot of these other languages when it comes, like I say, Java as an example. From my perspective, as somebody who's done both, I love Java. I think I have no problems working with it whatsoever. And when I work in TypeScript and when I work in Java, I don't see much in terms of difference. Like there is very little going on TypeScript can pretty much give you everything that you can get from Java. And there are very big benefits to using TypeScript. So if somebody comes to me and says that they hate on JavaScript because of things, I usually ask them, like, why don't you like it? And usually it comes down to emotional reasons. They start giving me, usually they give you some type of bullshit answer about it being weird, it has these quirks, and I kind of go, well, yeah, it has quirks. A lot of languages have some type of quirk. And if you add TypeScript, you have the typing system. So the loosely typed argument, which a lot of people throw around as well, is kind of unfounded as well. And then another common one is that they mention that, I've only been working on really shitty code bases, and, it becomes basically legacy as soon as you start working with it. And I kind of go and say, well, yeah, but that sounds like it has very little to do with the language. It sounds like a developer problem. But the question in question here I think is fairly spot on. It is an unwillingness to learn new things or adopt something, because the fact of the matter is that today with TypeScript there is pretty much nothing you can do with Node that you can do with, say, Java for most of the enterprise development that you would want to do. And I think that it's going to go away sooner or later, because the victories of TypeScript it just continues, and the victories of Java, as an example in this case, it's one is actually going up in popularity and the other one is dropping. Java has been dropping in popularity for years, and the other one is kind of going upwards, or TypeScript is going up right now. So, but guys, I can't. I get a lot of these questions about people who don't like JavaScript. Guys, you just have to accept it. This is the way it works. I mean, there are plenty of groups of people and tools and like people who like something, and the rest of the world don't like them for that thing. So you kind of just have to live with it. But I can tell you that most of this is completely unfounded, and I absolutely agree that it is an ignorance piece, and for quite a few people, just an emotional thing. The one thing that I will give the naysayers for, say, Node and JavaScript when it comes to development is that there is a lack in the JavaScript community of an understanding of good software architecture a lot of the time. It's very calm. I see quite a, I think that it would be extremely valuable for anybody who wants to do serious TypeScript or Node.js development to have a good, strong understanding of C# or Java or something like that, because the practices that they use, like the architectures and all these patterns that they have evolved for enterprise development, is extremely useful. But these can be applied in pretty much any language, I think. So there are some really good learnings to have with you, because I think that there is a bit of education that is needed in the JavaScript community for us to be able to, for people who do this seriously, to be able to hold their heads as high and say that, well, we pretty much do everything as well as somebody else, right? And then, of course, there are a few limitations still, but they are being fixed right now. The standards are catching up to all of the requirements that at least I think that we have. And one final thing I will give the naysayers as well is that the security issue is something that we need to address. It's because of the way that NPM works and how our open source community is structured, that there is a big benefit to having this sort of structure and this sort of community. But the security aspect is a factor that we need to acknowledge. We need to acknowledge that there is an issue here, because if you have fairly strict requirements and compliancy requirements within the project that you are working on, Node isn't really a good idea. I mean, it's not. It's just that you can make it work. It's not that. It's just that I think that that's one of the things that I would really like us to have a look at, because once the standards, I'm thinking maybe a year or two until like we have all of the rounding issues with mathematics and so forth fixed in Node or in JavaScript. And then in my world, the only thing that is left to have a look at is the security aspect. And I mean, everybody has to work on security. But after that, I don't see any reason why somebody would, apart from, as I said, emotional and illogical reasons, why you wouldn't use TypeScript for very serious enterprise level development. And the way that the world, like the industry is moving right now, I actually think that we will see quite a lot of more emphasis going into TypeScript and so forth. And without saying too much, I think that serverless and technologies such as this will start to play an increasingly important role. But we will see. That's at least my guess. So what I want you to take away from this is basically that I do agree. I think that there is, like most of the naysayers to JavaScript and like serious development today are people who are ignorant. Like they don't really know how much it has changed since the days that it was really, really bad, because it was really, really bad. And although I can agree that there are things that aren't great, but remember, like what language is perfect? Every language has issues. JavaScript doesn't necessarily, in my world, have significantly more limitations or problems than most of the other languages out on the market. But if that's the way you want to view your world, it's hard to reason with a person who is emotionally attached to an idea. And if they're not willing to have a grown-up conversation and look at something with an objective perspective, there's not much you can do about it. You just do what I do. Just zone out or tune them out, because who cares what they think? Have a great day.